Have a look my screen. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, thank you. So we are talking about AES function. This is the AES function. This is the encryption function. First, what we are doing, by writing a function, we require key and message. We need to be expand the key. The key is going to be expand to, that means you need to be generate a sub keys. Generally in DES algorithm, we generated a sub keys. Here also you need to be generate a sub keys. Instead of that, we are generating words in a different manner actually. That we will discuss, okay, in our discussion. So expansion of the key is one problem for us. Then I told you we have three variants are there based on the key size. What are the key sizes? 128, 192 and 256. These are the three variants are there. We are talking about only 128-bit key. So 128-bit key has like 10 rounds. All 10 rounds contain 4 subfunctions. The first one is going to be the substitute byte. Here you observe this is the substitute byte. This is a this is shift rows operation. This is a mixed column operation. I'm sorry here, okay, this is a mistake. This is not there, right? Shift rows and mixed columns. Then finally, your add round key. Add round key. So this is the simple function to understand. Very simple. What are the major differences I discussed in the last class? Just you observe how many subfunctions are there. This is substitute byte operation. This is substitute byte operation, and this is the shift rows operation. And up to 9th round, we will perform this mixed column operation. Up to 9th round, we are going to perform this mixed column operation. Finally, the add round key is there. While you are doing reverse, that means you are going to be perform decryption operation. You need not to reverse the whole function. Instead of that, you need to be use inverse of each and every subfunction. Means what? I have to be use add round key and inverse of mixed column operation, inverse of shift rows operation, inverse of substitute byte operation. Inverse of substitute. That means you are going backward. But you are not going. You are not reversing the complete function. Instead of that, you are reversing. You are creating inverse to your subfunctions only. Keep that in your mind. Finally, you end your for. Finally, you need to written your yes. This is the major function. If you understand this, then we will discuss each and every subfunction. So that means functions. How we are going to be work in this particular subfunctions. So now I am moving towards to my last lecture. So how many subfunctions we have? We discussed. How many subfunctions are there? 4 subfunctions are there. What are they? First one is substitute byte operation. Second one is shift rows operation. Third one is mixed column operation. And the fourth one is add round key. So these are the 4 options, 4 subfunctions. So we are not reversing the entire function. Instead of that, we are reversing. That means we are finding inverse to each and every subfunction. Each and every subfunction that you need to be keep in the mind. Now we are going to be talk about each and every subfunction. All 4 subfunctions we are going to be discussing in the today's class. So I'm sharing my screen. Oh, this is not now. So you were able to see this one, right? This is we discussed, and every operation we perform on state array. Every operation we are performing on state array. And what I want to show to you, forgot, entire screen is better for me, so that everybody able to see the screen. Right. The first operation we are talking about, substitute byte operation. We want to discuss substitute byte operation. Before, we need to be know a few things. Few things we need to be know. What are the few things? First of all, we need to be know some mathematical concepts. So how many of you studied fields in your discrete mathematics course? Have you studied some concepts like groups, rings, fields? These three concepts you studied in your discrete mathematics or not? So, then this is a necessary part for us, so that we will come back to the AES algorithm once we completed this particular concept. And I don't have a time. That means we have a lot of syllabus to cover. That's why I will give a brief idea on this particular mathematical concepts. But without the mathematical concepts, we are unable to understand the cryptography and cryptography related algorithms. So everybody please understood. So what we are discussing here. So how many of you have an idea on groups, rings and fields? Earlier you might be studied abstract algebra. I think most of you know abstract algebra. No? So you will make me more how to discuss group, ring, field. So I would like to give small examples and I will finish this concept. Why? Because without knowing that, if suppose I may say something that is not good for you, so I want to discuss about first groups, rings and fields. Then I will move towards to your AES algorithm. Why? Because a substitute byte operation is required to create one S box. That S box they designed based on the finite field concept only. Finite field concept only. In the finite field, there is a one typical concept is there that is called like a Galois field. That is called Galois field. That's why here in the slide you might be observed what was written here, G of 2 to the power 8. G of means Galois field, and 2 to the power 8 we are going to be choose to work on. Choose to work on. Okay. So now I don't have any other option, so that I have to finish this particular mathematical concepts. Then only I will move towards to this one. Right. I'm coming to you. So first of all, I want to talk about the group. So I have one question here to make you understand why we are not calling CSC set. Why we are calling CSC as a group? or a branch. Generally, we will treat this as a CSC group, or in an intermediate level, you might be have a maths, physics, and chemistry. So maths group, like that you are stating. Why we are stating like that? Any reason behind that? Any reason behind that? Suppose you want to receive a CSC degree, some of the subjects are compulsory, you need to be complete in your coursework. Not better identification and classification. A student is eligible for computer science degree means he is going to be study data structures, okay, discrete structures, algorithms, software engineering, database course, computer networks course, security course, computer organization course. These courses, whoever are going to be completed, they are eligible for computer science degree. Keep it in mind. Keep it this one in your mind. Now I'm coming to you with a small point. I'm sharing my screen. Please try to understand from this. I'm sharing my whiteboard. So there are 76 people are there. Please join. Why? Because this is very interesting and very important concept for you. Don't miss all these concepts. Why? Because once you miss, you are unable to understand something. That's why. So here, you try to understand. I am writing here one thing. So I am writing Z plus. What is this meaning? Most of you know this one. May I know what is the meaning for Z plus?
Positive integers.
We need to be considered only positive integers. We are going to be considered positive integers. So now, can I call this as a set of positive integers? Yeah, definitely. Nobody cannot say no. So no problem for that. Now, if suppose I may choose a set of positive integer, 0 is a part in that or not? Zero is not a part in that. Suppose I may keep that 0 with this Z plus. Z plus. Okay, now you come to my point. Now you come to my point. Okay, I'm talking about here one point. Where is this? This one. I'm not talking about this Z plus. Now I am choosing Z. Now I am choosing Z, and I am choosing one operator. I'm choosing one operator. So if you want to define any group, you require one operator. We have two operators only. One is a plus operator, other one is a dot operator. That you know. So one is used for the summation, another one is going to be used for product, right? Another one is going to be used to product. So if suppose I may choose a particular number Z5, what elements are there in this particular Z5? What are the elements are there in this particular Z5? I may written like that, Z subscript 5. What elements are there in that? Yeah, Rishabh, correct. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are there. Correct, na? So now I may call this as a set. Now I may call these particular values. That means here you may observe, suppose I may write here, so the elements are there here. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these are there, suppose. I'm sorry, here there is no 5. I have to be erased this one. There's no 5, only 4 elements are there. Now I'm talking about this one. So this is a set or a group. Please answer for me so that I will go ahead. So somebody said group. How we can say this is a set or a group? How we can say this? Yeah, these are a set of elements only. These are a set of elements only. We cannot call this as a group. When we are going to be call this as a group, when these elements are going, when this particular Z5 is going to be called it as a group. So I'm telling this is a group. Whatever one of the student has said, this is a group. I'm not starting this is a set. And if you want to treat this as a set, okay, this is a subset of integers. It is a subset of integers. So that you may call this as a set and you may create a subset to this one also. That's a different issue. But I want to treat this as a group. When I'm going to treat this as a group? When I'm going to treat this as a group? And what should I need to be satisfied? Suppose you have positive integers and you have negative integers. You have a positive integers, you have a negative integer. Suppose you are choosing only positive integers. With respect to positive integers, Z5 can generate all the values or not related to Z plus. Z5 can generate all the values or not? It can generate all the elements. Say yes or no? Definitely yes. Why? Because you need to be use modular operation. You have to use modular operation. Why? Because computer is going to be use modular operation only. So without modular arithmetic, we cannot generate all the values. Here also you need to be, you're supposed to be use modular arithmetic only. If you are going to be use modular arithmetic, then this is going to be a group. Suppose, okay, how I'm going to represent all the values. Suppose you may ask me, suppose any positive integer you may choose, suppose 14 you may choose. 14 you may choose. How we will represent this one? This is congruent to 4 mod 4 of mod 5. That means this we can call it as a class also. This we can call it as a, there are multiple classes are there in this. In this particular group, there are multiple classes are there. One is a 0 class, one is a 1 class, 2 class, 3 class, and 4 class. That means all elements of positive integers we can make, that means group it like a class. With respect to addition only I'm talking about. That's why group has single operator. Group has single operator that should be, you need to be used as plus only. And what postulates? There are postulates are there. You need to be satisfied that postulates. Then only you call that as a group. You choose any set of elements. Whenever the set of elements are going to be satisfied to some postulates, then we call that as a group. For the first one is going to be a closure property. You have associativity. You have identity. And you may go for a inverse element also. So what is the value here? Additive inverse. That means additive identity element is what? Addition point of is 0. You add something to 0, that resultant value is going to be that one only. This is the basic definition. Whenever this particular group is going to be satisfied, commutative law. AB is equal to BA. You know the commutative law. The property whenever it satisfies, we can call that as the abelian group. Whenever it is going to be abelian group and it is going to be satisfy some more property with respect to the multiplication. What are the properties? Distribution law, associative law, multiplicative with respect to multiplicative, distribution, association, and identity element, as well as it has inverse element. It has some inverse value. Then you call that as a ring. If that ring is going to be satisfied with the commutative law, again, the commutative law, then we call that as a commutative ring or integral domain. These two are there, commutative ring or integral domain. So that is going to be eligible to treat as a field. That is going to be, we are going to treat as a field. That means first you need to be know the group, then ring, then after field. So now my question is, this Z5 is a field or not? This is a field. When this is going to be a field, you are not going to be considered 0 here. You are not going to be considered 0 here. Then you can treat this as a field. Then you can treat this as a field. Why? Because it should be integral domain. If 0 is there, 0 doesn't have any inverse element. So that, okay, that is not going to be a part. That's why 1, 2, 3, 4 you may choose. These are belongs to Z5. Then this is going to be a finite field. So you may ask question over here. Sir, why we need to be talking about the fields? There are two types of fields are there. Infinite fields and finite fields are there. But as a computer science cryptography, we are working with the finite fields only. So you need to be define finite field only. You need to be define finite field only. Here, a very wonderful concept is that is going to be the finding a multiplicative inverse value. So I'm not describing complete abstract algebra and finite field and ring on. So you need to be know the definitions. That's why I'm talking about the there are some postulates needs to be satisfied, then only you call it as a group. Group has one operator. Group has only one operator. That might be multiplicator operator, or that might be addition operator. So, but a ring has two operators, plus and dot. Plus and dot. Finally, we are working with the finite fields. In that finite field, only we need to perform some operations. We need to perform some operations. So, remaining number 3 concepts I will discuss in the after this AES discussion. So, the required information to us is to understand what is a finite field. Once you understand a finite field, you choose some finite fields. You choose some finite fields. So here these are the finite fields. Here we need to be understood. We need to be understood one particular concept. That concept is you choose any particular numbers. That number has multiplicative inverse value or not. How we can find that number has a multiplicative inverse value or not? I will tell you here what is the multiplicative inverse value means. So I would like to say something to you here. If you choose Z is a field. Anybody can answer? Z is a field or not? And R is a field or not? And C is a field or not? So, out of these three, which one is going to be treated as a field? According to our definition. I told you already, there are two operators are there, plus and dot operator. Whenever a group is going to be satisfied the cyclic group, then we can treat as a ring. And that ring needs to be satisfied integral domain, and that ring required to maintain inverse multiplicative inverse value and multiplicative identity element. Then only we can call that as a field. If suppose you choose R is a finite field or not? Forget about that. First time simple concept I will come back to you. Z is a finite field or not? You have a set of integers, but you need to be treat that set of integer comes to your field or not? Not. Why? Because we don't have multiplicative inverse value. We don't have multiplicative inverse value. Okay. The same time, that's why you choose complex numbers. Complex numbers are field or not? It satisfies the field. Real numbers also going to satisfy the field with respect to why? Because most of the numbers has multiplicative inverse value except 0. So that was you need to be remove the 0. If you don't have a 0, then real numbers are also going to be treated as a field. But these fields are infinite fields, not finite fields. These fields are infinite fields, not finite fields. So that, okay, we need only finite field. That's why in the whiteboard you might be observed here, in the whiteboard you might be observed, I chosen Z5. Z5 is a finite field. Why? Because you need to be observed, 1 has a multiplicative inverse value. What is that? 1 into 1 is going to be equal to 1. And when you need to be called that as a multiplicative inverse value, you need to be know that GCD. Okay? GCD operations. Then only you will come to know GCD of any two elements you may choose, that is going to be equal to 1. That means there is a multiplicative inverse value existed between these two values. So I will ask a question here. Why? Because, okay, most of the time we will use GCD only. Okay, how to find GCD? Mostly in our discussions, GCD play a crucial role. So now my question is, what is the value? What is the resultant value of this one? GCD of 0, 0. If this value is given, what is the resultant value for you? I need to know answer from all of you. I am just providing GCD in your chat box. Check it. GCD of 0, 0. What is the resultant value? Not defined. I mean, Nitin, Amarnath, not defined. Gunjan, not defined. I want to see the answer from all of you. Not defined, not defined. So all of them are okay. Agree with the not defined. Whoever are there, please answer. I need to check how many of you answer correctly. Oh, everybody is okay saying okay, not defined. No, the value is defined. The value is defined. And I'm writing here, just you check GCD of 0, 0 is equal to 0. How many of you agree with me? How okay, GCD of GCD of 0, 0 is equal to 0. That's the question. So I written 0. Very next question is going to be how. Divya said 0. How? Divya, can you give okay some little hint to us how it is going to be 0? We'll agree with you. This is the beauty of this particular course. Actually, this is a wonderful course. We will enjoy if suppose we are good in the number theory, right? That's why here GCD of 0, 0 is equal to 0. How I can say this one? You need to know Euclidean algorithm. You need to know who is defined this GCD function? Euclidean. Right? Yeah, whenever you have to be right, okay, something, okay, GCD you need to be find, you have a small equation, just you need to be keep this logic with you. GCD of A comma B is there, the resultant value is equal to, what you need to be right, supposed to be right? That depends on the B value only. If B is 0, then A is the answer. B value is 0, A is the answer. So according to that here, what is our b value? B value is equal to 0. Then that's why I'm writing a value as the answer. Right? Otherwise you need to be apply b mod a mod b and go ahead with that. Your b is equal to a of mod b. B is equal to a of mod b. You need to be write it down. Why? Because always we are going to be choose. You need to be swap the elements. Suppose okay, a element is okay less and b element is greater. Then you swap these elements. Then you start the procedure. This is the way you need to be find the GCD algorithm. That's why in our your childhood days you might be find in a different way, but GCD is going to be based on the Euclidean algorithm only. Are you with me? Are you agree with me? And another concept, okay, whatever Deval is said, if suppose you have okay, a GCD of P comma Q, then you write it down some A into P plus B into Q. There is a one equation is there. So ultimately we are going to be learn that particular algorithm only to find the multiplicative inverse value. Extended Euclidean algorithm is going to be used to find the multiplicative inverse value. So Euclidean algorithm, mainly Euclidean said one algorithm to how to find a GCD value. How to find a GCD value, right? Are you okay? So I will explain you that, okay, so that okay, you will get to know how to okay solve this one. You come to my this whiteboard, then I will write. If suppose you have a GCD of A comma B, I want to find. Then you have to write if B equal to 0, then A is the answer. Otherwise, you have to find GCD of B comma A of A mod B. You need to be write this one. This is okay. This is you need to be run iteratively till that the last element comes to you. The last element might be either 1 or 0. Either 1 or 0. If you wish to find okay, any value you may choose and you may find. Okay, just suppose okay, this equation you may find GCD of okay 12 comma 6 you may use, or 12 comma 5 you may use. You will find that. Okay, use okay any you will find. Okay, this is the small algorithm he proposed, and okay we are finding GCD based on this one only. That's why GCD of 0 comma 0 always is equal to 0 only. That is the correct answer, right? Whenever this GCD of okay any two numbers are equal to 1, that means a multiplicative inverse value existed. A multiplicative inverse value is going to be existed. For our discussion, we require this multiplicative inverse value only. How to find the multiplicative inverse value? How to find a multiplicative inverse value? So, okay, one of your friend is said extended Euclidean algorithm is supposed to be used to find multiplicative inverse value. So now we may go. We may go to our slides. So my slides are visible now to you or not? Every natural number is a common divisor of 0, 0, 0 and 0, 0 and 0, 0 is the greatest indivisibility of the natural number. GCD 0, 0 is equal to 0. No, this is okay. This is okay. You've gone for somewhere, but okay. The mainly GCD value is defined based on the Euclidean algorithm only. So now I'm coming back to you our slides. Why? Because I need to be explained that one only. If I have a time, I will discuss more on this number theory. Right now, we don't have much time to discuss on that more. I want to finish this concept because we need to cover a lot of syllabus. I will give you more information about this. So now we observe this one. Here, first subfunction we are talking about. What we need to do, there are 3 steps are involved. Keep in mind, 3 steps are there. And here, in this particular subfunction, what we are going to be, we are substituting a byte by byte value. The substitution byte for each input byte is found by using the same lookup table. So finally, we need to be construct a 16 by 16 lookup table. 16 by 16 lookup table. That lookup table consisting the values from 0 to F. That means AES algorithm completely designed based on the hexadecimal values. I told you the starting point also. They used hexadecimal values only. So that's why you have a byte value. One input byte is that byte consisting 2 hexadecimal value. One is going to be say about the row information, other one is going to be say about the column information. And you have a 16 by 16 column. You go and look into that. That means a 16 by 16 lookup table. Find the appropriate byte, and that means substitute that byte instead of the existing byte. That is. So how this 16 by 16 lookup table is going to be constructed based on the Galois field. Now, what I said, we have a finite field concept. We have a finite field. Out of this, what is a Galois field? First, we need to know that what is a Galois field. There's a big information is required to know about the Galois field. Why? Because here we will consider only the prime numbers. That too, if suppose you may observe any prime numbers 2, 3, 5, 7, and so on. We are supposed to be use the prime numbers, and in the Galois field we are going to be using the binary form. That's why we are. You may use 3, 7, 5, and so on. But here in this particular our discussion, we are using only the Galois field to the power 8. It is a prime number. Right? And according to you, this is not a prime number. 2 to the power 8 is not a prime number. But according to the Galois field, 2 to the power 8 is a prime number. Are you okay? And this is the Galois field based on the polynomial arithmetic operations. They are going to be that means used in with respect to the polynomial arithmetic operations. So that we should know normal mathematical operations and we should know polynomial mathematical operation. Right? There you need to find a multiplicative inverse value. Means if any polynomial you may find, every polynomial has some irreducible polynomials are there. Suppose you have a field, every field, that means every particular set of polynomial values you may choose. Some of them are going to be irreducible polynomials. What is the meaning of irreducible polynomial? You may not further you are unable to reduce that polynomial operation. So such a kind of irreducible polynomial you need to be choose to construct this 16 by 16 lookup table. That means the operation is very simple. Substitute byte operation is very simple. To construct a lookup table is the biggest challenge here to understand. So our goal is going to be how we are going to be construct this S box for AES algorithm. And here we have 2 S boxes. For encryption point of view, you have 1 S box. For decryption point of view, you have another S box. But the construction is going to be depends on the same procedure, only little change is there for initial inverse in S box and normal S box. Again, I am coming to you. You want to perform substitute byte operation. You required 1 lookup table that we call it. Size is going to be 16 by 16 values. 16 by 16 means how many values are there? 256 values are there. The numbers are going to be used to generally the indexing, column indexing and row indexing we are using from 0 to F. 0 to F. Are you clear now? So the first substitute construction. So now we are discussing about the S box construction. So you might be seeing, okay, on the screen, this is the first step to construct S box. In that, you have, okay, 0 to F values for your column and 0 to F values for your row. And every time we might be observed, first byte value is going to represent row information, second byte is going to be represent column information, and so on. You need to be filled. This is the first step, nothing. There is no other, okay, there is no much logic in this. Simply you have a row index and column index. So row index and column index, first, okay, each and every cell you need to be inside 2 byte values, sorry, so two hexadecimal values. The 2 hexadecimal values are going to, the first is a row index and second one is a column index. Suppose I may choose here 7, 8. That means the 7 is a, here you may observe this one. Here you may observe this one. 7, 8 is there. 7, 8 means this the corresponding column is, okay, this one 8. Corresponding row is 7. So that's why first okay, 4 bits are going to represent a column row information. Second 4 bits are going to be informed to you column information. So this is, okay, just your initializing byte values in hexadecimal form. Initializing byte values in the hexadecimal form. Fine. This is the first step, simple step, nothing is there, right? So here, okay, there is an example is given, index 2 and row index is 2, column index 7 means the corresponding, okay, cell is going to be placed with 0 to 7x. 0, that means 27 is the value we need to be insert over there. That is there here. 27 is this one. 27 is this one. Now the second step. This is the very crucial and, okay, very important step to understand. These 2 steps. So we have 3 steps only. First step is a simple. Second and third step little, okay, complex. We try to understand that how this is. First of all, you need to be understood. Okay, LIC field you need to be studied. Then only you will get to know how, okay, these, okay, values are going to be chosen. And according to the Galaxy field, there is a one irreducible polynomial is there, x to the power 8 plus x to the power 4 plus x to the power 3 plus x plus 1. This is a one polynomial. I told you, okay, whatever values are there, you need to be converted into the polynomial and you need to perform the operations on that. Okay, now only except 0, 0. Why 0, 0 doesn't have any multiplicative inverse value? I told you, okay, but that's why in our discussion also I said we need to be remove 0. But because 0 doesn't have any multiplicative inverse value. But this is a number which we need to be used in the modular arithmetic operation. Modular arithmetic operation. Here also 0, 0 is there. Why? Because of a 0 row and 0 index, that cell is going to be represented with 0, 0. So we are unable to replace this. Why? Because this 0, 0 doesn't have any multiplicative inverse value. You keep as it is in the second step. Remaining all cells has multiplicative inverse value. Find that multiplicative inverse value and replace that multiplicative inverse value. For example, I will tell you. Here we may choose. Here this is, okay. Initially we have what 9, 5. This is there. This is we may choose. And whatever the multiplicative inverse value is there for this one with respect to this irreducible polynomial, this is an irreducible polynomial with respect to gf to the power 8. Right? So we are going to be find that multiplicative inverse value and we are going to be replace this with that number. Just you check how to find a multiplicative inverse value. This is the biggest. So that you need to be study extended Euclidean algorithm to find multiplicative inverse value. Here you observe, so this is the 9, 5. 9, 5 you need to be represent in the form of binary and only you need to be considered the 1 and the positions. Here 1 is there, 1 we written. This is x power 0, x power 1, x power 2, x power 3, x power 4, x power 5, x power 6, x power 7. So wherever 1 is there, that you need to be choose here. Here 1 is there, x power 7, that's why I written x power 7. Next, where is the 1? X power 4, that's why I written x power 4 here. Then where is the next? X power 2. that I written x power 2 here, plus x power 0 means 1. That's why I written here 1. And this one has a multiplicative inverse value 8a. This one has a multiplicative inverse value 8a. So first we need to be studying how to find a multiplicative inverse value with help of extended Euclidean algorithm. With help of extended Euclidean algorithm. So that's why again I have to share my multiplicative inverse value with help of extended Euclidean algorithm. Okay. So here, okay, there's a shortcut method is there to find multiplicative inverse value. We should study that a shortcut method to solve this multiplicative inverse problem. First, I will talk about the decimals. Then I will discuss with you how to perform this one based on this hexadecimal values. Whatever the example we have, that example I am trying to solve for you. Right? Just okay. First, okay, I'm just sharing my whiteboard. Just you check this whiteboard, and we try to solve 1 or 2 problems based on the decimal. After that, we'll study. We will work it out on hexadecimal or okay, polynomial operations. Here, I'm providing 2 numbers to you to find okay inverse value for that. One is I can give to you 7 and 4. 4 in 7. We find multiplicative inverse value for that. 4 in 7. What is mi value? Okay, what is mi value? So here you have to use the multiplicative inverse value. Have to use the multiplicative inverse value. So 7 is, suppose you are choosing A, your B is going to be 4. First you need to be checked GCD of 7 comma 4 is equal to 1 or not. If it is 1, then multiplicative inverse value is there. If it is 0, there is no multiplicative inverse value. You need to be declared immediately. You are going to be declared, there is no multiplicative inverse value. If it is 1, definitely multiplicative inverse value is going to be existed. Okay. So this extended Euclidean algorithm, what they said, you choose 2 values, 1 into 7 plus 0 into 4 is equal to 7. That's why I'm going to be choose like this okay, every time. So this is my A, this is my B, something okay, okay, like that. I am choose okay 2 values like this. Then the second one is also going to be 0 into 7 plus 1 into 4. I can represent these 2 like this. Then I have to find the remainder value for these 2. You need to find the remainder values for these 2. What is the remainder value? You will get 3. How I will write okay 3 over here? So 1 into 7 plus minus 1 into 4. Minus 1 into 4 is equal to 3. I can represent like this. So you may ask a question over here, sir, how this 1 comes over here? You need to be add these 2. Okay, 1. Okay, 4 into something is there. Suppose okay, you need to be multiply okay, this. Okay, suppose okay, you may that means okay, how you got the remainder? There is a k value is there. You need to be use the k, and okay, you need to be apply over here okay some small okay equation. Then you will get this okay 1, and here you will get a minus 1. Okay. So next okay, I want to go for okay. Next you need to be choose these 2 numbers 4, 3. And find the remainder value. What is the remainder value? 1. And what's supposed to be right here again? Here 0, here the previous value is there, and this value is there. You have to be multiply with your coefficient value. Then you will get what value you will get here? -1. -1 into 7. And here, what is there? Already -1 is there. And here the previous value is going to be plus 1. -1 into 1, -1, minus into minus, plus हो जाएगी, then 1 plus 1, 2. That's why here plus 2 into 4. This is going to be equal to 8. 8 minus 7 is equal to 1. That's why this is there. Then 4 has a multiplicate inverse value. That multiplicate inverse value is going to be this 2. The 4 has a multiplicate inverse value, that is going to be 2. Why? Because whenever you multiply 2 into 4, 2 into 4 is congruent to 1 of mod 7. 1 of mod 7. According to the modular arithmetic, if any two numbers in that field you multiplying, the resultant is going to be remainder value is going to be 1 with respect to that particular field. Then you call these, then these two numbers are multiplicative inverse value. I will come to you to explain again. So this is the formula we generally we will use to find multiplicative inverse value. So here I want to explain one point here. So if suppose Z7 is there, what elements are there in Z7? I need to be consider 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Keep a logic here. 1 and 6. 1 and 6 are multiplicative inverse values. So these two numbers, their multiplicative inverse values are same. 1 into 1, 6 into 6. 6 into 6 is 36. 36 of mod 7 is going to be equal to 1. Is congruent to 1. 1 of mod 7. That's why 6 has a multiplicative inverse value 6 only. 1 has a multiplicative inverse value 1 only. Remaining also you need to be keep like this. 2 has a multiplicative inverse value 4. 2 into 4 is equal to 8. 8 of mod 7 is equal to 1. That's why these two are multiplicative inverse values. And here also you need to be observed 3 into 5. Again, these two are multiplicative inverse values. That means multiplicative inverse is also going to be existing in that particular field, that means that particular field values only. So you can represent any number with help of this particular combination. Any number you can represent with help of this particular combination. That's why 3 into 5, 15 mod something. So that's why I told you there is this class information. There are subclasses, classes information is there. What is a one class? Suppose I'm supposed to be write one class. What's supposed to be write one class here? This is the one class represented. What elements are there in one class with respect to Z7? 1 is there, then 8 is there, then what is the next number? 15 is there, then next number 22 is there, and so on. What is the class 2? Suppose you want to represent a class 2, 2 other numbers. What is the next number? 9, then 16, 23, and so on. So all numbers we are going to represent in the form of these classes. But multiplicative inverse point of view, we are going to be choose this one only. We are going to be choose this one only. Right. I don't know how many of you understood. And any questions from you? Again, I may explain this one. And I plan to give one small problem to you to solve and provide the information to me. One small problem I will give you. But try to find the multiplicative inverse value and provide answer to me. Okay. That number is going to be 550 in 1728. Okay. 550 in 1728. Correct. 1728, 1758. Yeah, 550 in 1769. Just use these two numbers, find the multiplicative inverse. 550 and 1769. Use this number and use extended Euclidean algorithm. There is a one short form is there, that also I will explain to you. So you try to solve this problem, then I will explain that short form. There is no other method, only extended Euclidean algorithm you need to be supposed to be used to find the multiplicative inverse value. So there is a short form is there. I will explain that short form, how to perform that. Right? First you find if you 550 and 179 multiplicative inverse value. What is the multiplicative inverse value for 550 in 1729? Please try to solve. I will give a 5 minutes time to you. So I may know whether you understood or not this particular concept. So that's why I'm providing this problem to you. How many of you are able to solve this one? So I would like to give one short method for you. No, not one. GCD of these two are equal to 1. You try to find out that first. If GCD value of 1 is going to be, then okay, you need to be find the value of, okay, what is the multiplicative inverse value. You may check also 550 into 550, then the remainder value should be 1 for 1769. Take it like that. So I'm coming to you to explain. So what values you got? You choose the three things here. You keep it, okay, just come to my whiteboard. Have a look into this whiteboard. So what I have now, so I have 1769 and another number is 550, and GCD you need to be find out. Okay, find out, okay, this GCD value is going to be equal to 1. Then you have to choose coefficient, and you should write this as a reminder value, suppose, and this is an auxiliary value, and here you need to be write, okay, 0 and 1. Only we need to be up, work it out, okay, over here only, right? Then how many times it is going to be the coefficient of, okay, how much is there? This is the coefficient is going to be 3 na, and the remainder value is going to be 119. Then this value minus this into this value. Then the value, resultant value, need to be write it down here. That means 0 minus the your auxiliary, previous auxiliary value, and the coefficient q value, that is 3 here. The resultant value minus 3. So here you need to be write minus 3 value. And continue this one. Again 4 you have to write it down here. Coefficient how many times? 4. 119 fours. 476, 550 minus 476. They continue the same one. So you will get here 74. And here this is going to be coefficient 4. Then here you need to be apply 1 minus 3 into 4. This is going to be equal to 13. So here that 13 will come up here. And you continue this one till that 1 will come here. If suppose you got negative number here, suppose the resultant value here is the negative number, find the additive inverse value for that. Multiplicative inverse value for this one. Right, you continue that one like this. No, you continue whatever procedure I said, no, the same thing you continue. Nitin, how are we writing for 3 and 4 in Q column? This is the coefficient. Coefficient, okay, once you multiply 550 into 3, how much you will get? 1650. So that 3 coefficient, na, Q, that value I'm writing over here. And the second one 4, the remainder value is 119. So now I need to be consider 550 and 119 only. Okay, for the computation. In the 550, if suppose 119 is there, 119 into 4, I will get 476. Then the remainder value is going to be 74. I need to be write, okay, 74 there, and 150, the 4 is in the coefficient value. Then 4 into 3, 12. Minus is there, minus 12, minus into minus plus. So that's why plus 12 plus 1 is equal to 13. And go for the next step. And so on, you continue and find the multiplicative inverse value. Okay, how many of you completed? So finally you got 550. So you try to understand how to solve this problem. Then we would like to go to discuss about the hexadecimal value. So definitely one question comes in your examination based on this, like a bits or questions, something is there in your midterm examination or end-term examination. Most of the questions are going to be based on this particular Euclidean, extended Euclidean logarithm only. Keep it in your mind. So now we will move towards to discuss about how we are going to be find multiplicative inverse value for this hexadecimal value. Why? Because okay, we have hexadecimal value. We understood, okay, how we are going to be write, okay, these things, right? Now I want to talk about, okay, I'm just providing one value to you. Write it down, all of you, to solve this one. Finding mi for x to the power 7 plus x plus 1 over gf 2 to the power 8, and that irreducible polynomial is x to the power 8 plus x to the power 4 plus x to the power 3 plus x plus 1. We try to solve this problem and try to find the multiplicative inverse value. Here, first of all, we need try to understood how polynomial arithmetic operations we are going to be performed. For that, first we need to be understood. First, we are trying to understood how this arithmetic operations are going to be performed. Here you have two operators only. I told you that there is a dot and product. You don't have any other arithmetic operations. Only you have summation and multiplication operations. Summation and multiplication operations. So that you use these two and perform your operations. Means suppose any polynomial is given to you, they may ask you to add. Suppose two polynomials I may provide it to you. How you are going to perform addition among those two? Please let me know. Suppose x to the power 5 plus x plus 1, and another one is going to be x plus 1. How you will add? What is the resultant value? X to the power 5 only. Why? Because you need to perform XOR operation between these two polynomials. These two polynomials. So that's why this is a little different than the normal decimal arithmetic operations. Be clear about that. Be clear about that. So first of all, we are going to be solve this problem. You will get to know how to. So I am just writing one particular problem for you. This is a whiteboard is there, so that is good for me. Here x to the power 8. You need to be right. I given two polynomials to you. One is x to the power 8 plus, please listen carefully, x to the power 4 plus x to the power 3 plus x plus 1. And here you need to use two things. One is a coefficient, another one is the auxiliary value. And one more polynomial is given to you, x to the power 7 plus x plus 1. And here auxiliary value is 0 for this one and 1 for this one. Next, how many times this is going to be divide this one? And what is the remainder value? How many times it is going to be? We have to use only x. Here x, suppose. And write it down the equation over here. You may write it down. What is the remainder value here you will get? So what value is there? X power 8 plus x into x, x square, plus x into 1, x. That means here x is there, x square is there, x power 8 is there. X power 8 both are going to be cancelled. Why? Because you need to be perform a subtraction operation here. So subtraction operation directly is not possible. That's why you need to be use the XOR operator over here. So whenever you are going to be XOR operator, you are going to be use x power 8 plus x power 8 is going to be 0. So what is the next value? X power 4. That's why here this is going to be x power 4. Then what will be there? X power 3. Then x square is there. Then x square is there. X and x both are going to be cancelled. That's why here the remaining one is going to be plus 1 is there. That's why the remainder is going to be x to the power 4 plus x to the power 3 plus x square plus 1. This is the value. Here we don't have any subtraction operation. That's why you need to be perform XOR operator. That's why 0 XOR 1 into x. 0 XOR 1 into x means here x will come. Again, you need to be find how many times it is going to be. That means that what is the coefficient value here? You need to be find that value is going to be x to the power 3 plus x square plus x plus 1. X plus 1. Then you find the remainder value. That remainder value is going to be here x to the power 3. Simple. Suppose here this one I will explain you on my whiteboard, so that you will get to know how to perform this one. Here x power 4, x power 3, x square plus 1 is there, and here x power 7 plus x plus 1 is there. Suppose we may come to our whiteboard. In the whiteboard you might be observed, this is my x power 7. You use some gaps, plus what would be there? X plus 1 is there. Then what which one I would like to use to find the remainder value and coefficient values like this. What value is there here? My remainder value x power 4. X power 4 is there, plus x power 3 is there, plus x square is there, plus 1 is there. Then how many times first I need to be supposed to be used here? To cancel this one, x to the power 3 I supposed to be used first. If I may supposed to be use x to the power 3 here, what would be the resultant value? X to the power 7 plus x to the power 6 plus x to the power 5 plus x to the power 3. Then these two are going to be cancelled. The next level, what value we will get? The next level values are going to be x to the power 6 plus x to the power 5 plus x to the power 3 plus x plus 1. Then how many times it is going to be? X square times. This is going to be x to the power 6 plus x to the power 5 plus x to the power 4 plus x square. Then you need to be check here. These two are going to be cancelled. These two are going to be cancelled, and remaining values are there here. Remaining values are x to the power 4 plus x to the power 3 plus x square plus x plus 1. Then how many times it is? Just you have to be continue this one like this, है ना? So that okay, we'll get a remainder value. Here you need to be checked here very carefully. You need to be checked. X to the power square remains x to the power 6 plus right. So next you need to be verify this one and this one, which one is okay. More value. Which one is more value? So here okay, you need to be write here plus 1. Suppose you write a plus 1, then x to the power 4 plus x to the power 3 plus x square plus 1. Right? Then these are going to be cancel out. Okay, these, okay, whatever the cancel outs are there, then remainder value find out. You choose the remainder value, okay, this value, then the coefficient value, you okay, replace these values over there. Okay, any questions here? So shall we continue this one in the next class to discuss? Why? Because okay, I don't have okay some. Okay, I mean, what I will do, I will work on the paper. Why? Because okay, here I'm writing something is okay not good looking. That's why I will create a slide for you to explain each and every step related to this multiplicative inverse value finding in the AES algorithm. Right? So we will discuss in the next class. On Monday we'll discuss on this. Especially we will concentrate on to understand this extended Boolean algorithm. Any further questions from your side? Let me know. If you don't have any questions, say no, then okay, I will close this session. Okay, thank you. Only 59 members are there, so that I am giving attendance to that 59 members only, and how many no's comes automatically my counter will count to you. Right? Thank you.